Dr. Neil Shastri-Hurst.
Thank you, Madam Chair. At a time of existential threat to Ukraine, I've been heartened by the tone that we've seen across this House towards its people. But it is critical at this moment in history that this House and all European governments step up and don't give up. And whilst I welcome the details within this short bill, I do have concerns that we should be focusing upon the untapped countermeasure and offensive that is available at our disposal. And I would gently say to the Minister, as raised by a number of colleagues in this House, that we should think about the use of Russian frozen assets to support Ukraine in its non-violent economic and political reconstruction. Because, of course, the UN General Assembly has already endorsed an international mechanism for compensating Ukraine. But we can't wait to a point where the war is over before we enact that countermeasure. Back in 2022, Ukraine lost 29% of its GDP, and therefore leaving it until the end of the war will be far too late for Ukraine to receive its compensation. Instead, by using the $300 billion in Russian central bank assets held by free and open countries now, we can give Ukraine a lifeline as it continues in its honourable defence of its country. And I believe that this action is not just morally justified, but it also has sound legal grounds underpinning it. The true centre of gravity in this war is Ukraine's economic endurance against Russia's strategy of attrition and ruin. But there is currently, despite the efforts across Europe, a leadership vacuum in pushing through the use of Russian frozen assets in order to help the decisive action that is needed for Ukraine's victory. And what we are seeing is Putin's increasing isolation with civil unrest in Russia, and it is imperative and paramount that we take advantage of it. To date, European countries and the United States have provided roughly $3 billion per month to the Ukrainian people in order to keep its government functioning. And I think we would all across the House endorse that approach. But in the long term, it's neither right nor practical to expect Western taxpayers to foot the bill for reconstructing Ukraine when there are legal means for Russia to pay. Because there can be no credible scenario whereby Russia gets its money back after waging an unprompted war against Ukraine whilst the victims go uncompensated. After all, that would effectively put the position of an aggressor's rights taking precedence over the rights of the victims. And so what we must do is show that the UN rulings and the international law have teeth, and there are consequences to Russia for its waging its illegal war. We can't blindly live in the hope that Russia will fulfil their legal obligations. And so I gently say to the Minister that by taking action now and using those Russian frozen assets as a form of down payment on the reparations that Russia will one day have to pay should be a route that should be pursued by the government at the earliest opportunity. Thank you.